Okay, little squample do. Why did it get so quiet? Why did it get
sorry.
so quiet?
Hey,
forgot
good
to get off.
evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
It's a ceiling fan. Look at that. It's not the wood bottom of my lofted bed. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Nobody Asked. Woo! Oh my God. Colin feels weird being the normal amount of loud because he's in an Airbnb. Woo! Yeah, welcome to Nobody Asked with your wonderful and incredible host. It's Lumberjack Maria.
Oh, that is me. I'm feeling like a lumberjack today. I mean, not really,
Oh, with the trees behind you. And
Yeah.
the trees produce wood, which can be turned into cabinets.
That is true.
And your other host, it's Colin.
Hey, it's my baby. I love him. He's my son. I love you.
Oh, it is. Yeah. It's us.
It is us. And only us.
Today, we're talking about Florida. Is it the worst state? No, but it's number 3. Fuck you, West Virginia and Mississippi.
Hey, why are you coming from Mississippi?
Mississippi, a trash state. We all know it, okay?
Boo.
Mississippi bad. Number 1 in homicides. Number 2 in religiousness. Number 1 in teen pregnancy. Number 2 in number of bachelor's degree. Number 1 in another metric, which is bad. I'm certain of it. It's just
the number of crawfish per square inch. I don't know.
Fuck Mississippi. Okay?
I definitely saw one today. I saw one today running down the street. He was like, ah! I should have taken a picture.
Don't send your money to, Uganda or whatever. Send your money to Mississippi. They need it. It's bad.
They kind of do. They kind of do.
They kind of need it. Yep. Today we're talking about Florida. What's the deal? Ron DeSantis, more like Ron. Hey, what's the deal with this guy?
No panties?
And what's the deal with this guy? And, when the joke doesn't work, do it twice. That's what they told me on stage on comedy, and that was to mess with me. I like it. What's going on in Florida? They got some laws. They're doing big things over there in terms of fascism and fucking with norms and signaling American, but also, is it really American? And they're really pissing off the Democrats, right? Because they're doing it in a state where the Democrats feel like they can still win, and it's like you can't. So stop thinking about it. You're never getting Florida again. It's over. You lost the Cubans.
You know what? You might be right. I mean,
the Cubans, it turns out, hate communism and socialism by extension. And
that's probably true.
If we want to embrace socialism, which we do, then we're gonna lose the Cuban vote. What are you gonna do? We're gonna lose the Cuban vote. That's not what today's about. Today's about Florida. Still, it's Nobody Asked. Woo!
It's Nobody Asked. We're here. Just us.
Ashley's like, oh, what's the sponsor for today? Well, let me tell you who the sponsor is, okay? Let me throw it over to my co-host. Today's sponsor is fucking books, dude. Oh my God. You ever opened up a little leafy pamphlet and been like, holy shit, there's a lot of words right here. I bet if I read them a whole entire journey, I won't be brought on a whole entire journey. Well, oh, dude, holy shit. Oh my God. Elves. What the hell's going on? Oh my God, my brain. Books, you should read them.
I went on a journey too. That was great. I loved it.
Oh, holy moly. Wait, he went where? A mountain. With just a hatchet? What's he gonna do? He's out in the wilderness. He's just a boy. What book is he talking about?
Hatchet.
Hatchet.
You gave it away.
This is one of the best jokes I've done. Oh my gosh, I gotta write this down. This is great stand-up material. This set is sponsored by books. Whoa. I can do what with my health insurance?
Wait, what can you do with your health insurance?
Open up the pamphlet. Guess I shouldn't smoke. Dude, these words they're doing crazy shit to my brain.
Do you know what I like about this? What I like is just, earlier today you mentioned that that people, for some reason in Canada, where you are right now, think that you're agreeable. And this is sort of a strange thing, but just now I saw it. I saw how agreeable this character that you just created. He was like, yeah, pamphlets.
Of Canada. There's something about this northern air. There's something about this northern air where I'm like, whoa, dude, yeah, let's go over there. They bring me. I thought we were gonna go on a hike through a park, right? And then we showed up and it was covered in snow because we're in Canada, and it was vertical because it was a mountain, and there were stairs, and a USA Colin would be like, that's too many stairs, I'm out. But agreeable Colin's like, well, let's get up those, let's get up those stairs. Oh, I don't need to breathe. Good times. I was dying. It was a lot of stairs.
You made me excited about it.
I had a good day. Yeah. The way that you phrased it made it seem like it's the Canada of it all that makes them think I'm agreeable. But here's the story, guys. I know you're chomping at the bit for Colin, why are you in Montreal? I was invited to go to Montreal with a bunch of people that were going to a conference for neuroscience. And it's for free because they just had an extra spot in the car and in the Airbnb. So I'm sleeping on that air mattress. When I sleep on it, it's not vertical like that.
Right.
I do one of these, and then I sleep on it all flat-wise, or else it'd be uncomfortable. And there's an extra spot. And so it feels like when a bunch of other people pay for a trip and then they suddenly invite you and are like, you don't have to pay for it. It's all good. What you definitely can't do is take their kindness and then become an obstacle. And I've been known to be an obstacle because I have strong feelings all the time. But on this trip, I'm water, baby. And I've said it so many times. People are like, oh, Colin's water, baby. I keep saying, I'm Colin. I'm water, baby. I go with the flow. Okay.
Yes.
I'm like a droplet in a river, right? I'm like, holy shit, we're definitely going down, and then, we hit a river bank and we're like, oh, can't go that way. So left, and that's me. That's what I'm channeling. Okay. Guess what? They invited me to Montreal. They're like, it's a six-day trip in Montreal. I was like, oh shit. Started looking up open mics. There's one next Tuesday. And then on the drive up, they're like, by the way, it's 4 days in Montreal, 2 days in a random mountain, like an hour and a half north of Montreal. Was I like, oh, fucking wish you told me that? No, I was like, oh, I'm water, dude. That's great. I love mountains. So that's what I'm channeling. Do I seem crazy right now? I've walked so far. People are, let's walk over there. And am I going to say no? Absolutely not. I'm saying I'm throwing out yeses to everything, okay? My legs will sooner fall off my body before I'm like, oh, I'm not walking, okay? So I've walked so many steps. I'm sure my mom can vouch that when she got on here, I was giving out a lot of vibes. Now I'm fucking cooking because that bit worked. Ashley Nicole says Zen Colin meets Point Break Colin. Oh, hey Zen Colin, we haven't let you out in a while because I'm kind of fucking high strung. Oh, Has the weight of life made you crazy? Well, what about a random trip to Montreal? Water. I'm losing it. All right.
I mean, I think it's great. You react much better. It seems like going north than you do when you come down here to Mississippi.
Dude, fuck the South. Okay. It's warm down there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, dude. I want to be in the Scottish Highlands, dude. I want to be fucking prancing around with rock walls, you know?
Sure.
You ever seen those rock walls they have in the Shire? That's the stuff I like. I just like walking by and being like, oh, dude, look at that structure over there. Let's get in that, you know?
Yeah.
Love a good structure.
Then you can wear a kilt too, which should be fun.
Oh, dude, so much ventilation, which is big for me. I'm a big. If there's one thing you should know about me, audience who have been hearing a lot about me with the podcast. If there's one thing you should know about me, I'm a big ventilation guy. Love when the air can get to my nether regions. So yeah, Scotland with the old kilts, woo, and bagpipes, just point them right down, right? Point them right there, more ventilation. So I'm cooking, dude. I should be in it like right now. This is not the character I go on stage with. Here's the character I go, hey guys, how's it going? I'm real laid back. Last time, not usually. Usually, I don't know. I need to stop talking, but I'm going crazy.
Florida.
Hey, whoa. Okay, we can't have me talk about this stuff for 5 minutes and not talk about your life. What's cooking over in the Mississippi?
Your dad just bought an electric lawnmower. Which seems like such a weird thing for him. But man, he's been talking about it.
Getting into the electric things, you know?
He has. Yeah, and he just mowed the lawn with it like a half an hour ago.
Was it quiet? Yeah.
It was quiet. I had no headphones on. I wasn't mowing the lawn. I was just laying on on the bench on the porch while he mowed. He just went right by. I was like, oh, this is delightful. It's delightful. Why have we poo-pooed electric stuff previously? It's delightful. So I mean, I guess that didn't technically happen to me. I don't know, man. What have I been doing?
Wait, is it plugged into a wall while you're mowing?
No, it's got batteries, like rechargeable, like you would put on your drill or whatever, but it's for your lawnmower.
That's what's up, dude.
And it did a good job cutting it too. It did a great job, which is important. You want that.
Did he cut the poop grass?
He cut all the grass. I mean, there's no poop grass anymore. That situation has resolved. Is resolved.
Oh, there's poop grass. Okay. Well,
it's resolved.
Drop a water theory here. All right. If there was once poop, some of that grass is still poop.
Well, hopefully with rain and whatnot, there's been a certain level of filtration that has moved everything away. It's all corrected itself. We're good to go. It's better.
Is it still? Oh, here's the real question. Okay.
Uh-oh.
There's this. You guys haven't been to our house, so this material's not going to do well with you. But there's this hard grass line that's over by the poop water area, and then it goes into forest with dirt. Is that area where it becomes dirt green still?
It's not like it was, where you were like, what the heck is this weirdness? Now we have actual grass and foliage growing.
Oh, so there's grass and foliage.
Yeah. So that's better.
And that stuff, that's poop foliage. I'm fucking killing, dude. Florida. I can't believe this is the episode where we have 4 viewers. Okay. We've been cooking at like 12 viewers an episode. And this episode, the Montreal episode, this is going to go down in Nobody Asked lore. Okay. Yep. When we've got like thousands and thousands of viewers and we've gotten too big for the fans. And when we get recognized in public, we're like, ugh, no photos. Right. But then our fans will talk about the Montreal episode where Colin, for just one episode, seemed mentally healthy, and yet somehow still unhinged.
It's nice. Canada definitely looks good on you, for sure.
We should show this to a therapist. Be like, we're aiming for this. It never gets hinged, okay? You can't try and put a hinge on me, dude. No fucking hinges. I'm losing it. All right.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Colin, you have substances in your system? Beep, boop, boop. No, I got nothing. I'm fucking on no sleep. I slept on an air mattress. Ooh, forgot
in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, dude. This Airbnb advertised for 8 people. The final 2 of that equation, air mattress in a kitchen. Airbnb, check your shit out. Okay. Did I complain? No. I'm water, baby. I was like, oh, I'll sleep in the hallway, dude. I'll sleep in the tub. Okay. The tub that doesn't drain, Airbnb. Bring me up to speed. Where's Colin? Oh, let me do it for you. Oh, you see this M on my chest? It's for Montreal. Okay. It's the best city in Quebec. Oh man, I'm walking around. Police officers are like, bonjour, fucking, they're talking like that. Oh, dude, they're riding horses, bro. They don't have cars. The cops here, they haven't heard of them yet. And horses. And Montreal.
I think they've heard of them. It's a choice. It's a vibe. It's a choice.
Been there. Me too.
I think Barbie lives on the other side of Canada. So
Wendy H says Airbnb lies. Also, I like your glasses, Wendy. Yeah, it does, dude. And it no longer feels like it's cheaper, right? Because you leave and they've got a list. Okay. Well, when's the last time a hotel gave you a list before you leave? No, Airbnb, they talk mad shit. They're like, oh, put the pans away. Oh, why don't you put your own fucking pans away, dude? And you've prepaid a cleaning fee for someone to come in because of COVID, because everyone's so worried about COVID still. So that's why they have to charge the fee. And so you pay this pre-cleaning fee and then you leave and you didn't plump the pillows up well enough. And they're like, oh, extra $200 fee. You didn't do it right. Okay. I'm water.
Yeah, you're water. It's fine. It's not your
Florida.
problem.
Florida, guys. Let's talk
Florida.
about it.
It's near the water. It's near the water.
It is. That's the crazy thing about Florida. It's got some of the least water people, right? Everyone in Florida is so chill. They're like shooting. But you're by the water. Why?
Yeah.
These are the questions that the Republicans aren't asking.
They don't want those answered because right now this is working.
No one's asking these questions, okay? Just nobody asked.
Nobody asked. Where should we start this? Oh, I'm going to start just a tiny bit with Ron DeSantis. And, he's the governor of old Florida, probably running, to get the Republican nomination for president against Trump here shortly. But he just re-won election by 20 percentage points. It was not even close. It was a significant win. So this is a real choice over here in Florida. And that's why I think Florida is being used as a great experiment. We've talked a lot about, lobbyists that have sent around, weird legislation just to see how it'll work in some specific areas. And, the evangelicals that are running some of these huge lobbying groups and stuff like that. We've talked about that stuff. And I feel like Florida is the place, man. Let's make this a new stomping ground, a new religio state. Is that a word? I don't know if that's a word, for evangelicals and all of their doctrines. That's my feeling. And we can start a little bit. I just want to talk about this little group. It's just a little group. And there's all sorts of them. They're probably all over Florida, but this particular one's pretty big. And they have this lovely name, Moms of Liberty. Now, what Moms of Liberty does is they put their efforts, whether that be shouting in the streets or getting people to vote, putting money behind. I don't know what they're putting behind, but they're putting their action and energy towards getting conservative candidates onto school board seats, which feels interesting and strange. It's like, okay, normally you try to do that in the upper, the upper echelons of politics. Let's put all of our efforts there. But no, there has been this big move, and this big move happened in Arizona too when it came to electors, the people that were counting votes and stuff like that in Arizona. That there was a big push to fill all of those seats with as many conservatives as possible. And now we're seeing it also moving on to school boards, which I find quite interesting because we've seen some interesting legislation. And now we can see how these ladies, I say ladies because they're called Moms of Liberty, are going to control what your children in Florida learn. What could go wrong?
Dude, if there's one thing, like we pull things out of the through line of all these nobody asked, is like, when you see a problem, you're like, there's a fucking group. I know it. And you're finding all these groups every step of the way. Everything that we look at, you're like, I've got a group.
I found some people. They came right up on my first look.
I found some motherfuckers, all right? And I think they're doing this shit. Moms, wait, for Liberty?
Yeah, Moms of Liberty.
Moms. Oh, of Liberty. They're from there. They're from Liberty. And they're putting people on the old school boards, and they are then proposing this nonsense legislation.
Well, what they're basically doing is, school boards can control the curriculum, which is a big deal. They want to control the curriculum, and they can also put a lot of pressure on superintendents. In the last 3 years, of the 67 superintendents in the state of Florida, 40 of them have changed, whether some be through just normal retirement or through other means. 40 of 67 of them have changed. And it started with COVID. So first we had COVID, and you saw people suddenly interested in what their school boards were doing because they really didn't want to wear masks and they didn't want to make their children wear masks. So they started just throwing the biggest, highest stink on the planet. And then once they got people listening to them or not listening to them and then making them shout more, I don't know, that just set them on a whole entire spectacular roll. I'm going to pull up this little tab. Let's see. I just want to read it because I enjoy reading stupid things. Share screen. Select a window. I would like to select a window. Watch me narrate this. Here we go. Oh, can you even see that?
Nope. Can't see anything.
How about now? Oh.
Yeah. Are you on an iPad again?
No.
Why is it vertical?
Oh, because you can like half split your windows. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's interesting that it's still, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't want to start at the top of it.
This is super small on my screen.
Oh, okay. Can I make it bigger? Dude. Maybe I can make it bigger this way too.
That's helping.
Okay. So I want to go right here to this paragraph here, this Rebecca Sarwi one. She said, I hadn't been involved with the school board prior to COVID. It got us paying attention. Our first time showing up in person at the school board, I, along with 6 other mothers, were trespassed from the location for a whole year due to not wearing a mask, and they silenced our voice from public comment. It had been an eye-opening experience to the lengths that they would assert their power. But since COVID restrictions made us acutely aware of the power behind the school board, we are now paying attention to their meetings, agendas, and curriculum. So many other concerns were coming to the surface now that we are paying attention.
Wow.
That's it, baby.
That was awesome. And a very, very good Washington, D.C. accent.
I do the best Washington, D.C. accent.
But she's from Florida, right?
She's from Florida.
And so if it was Florida, it'd be something more like, I hadn't been involved in the school board prior to COVID. It got us paying attention. Something like that. That's awesome. She seems like a real Rebecca Sarwi. She seems like a real cool cat. I'd like to get some Mickey D's with her.
Listen, she sounds exactly like the kind of person that would be in the Moms of Liberty, because she suddenly saw the power that the school board had. They were controlling her life and her children's life, and she didn't want that. She wanted to control her children's life. That is her right as a parent.
It's really an empowering and beautiful story.
It is. It is.
I like it.
I can close this, or we can, read the next paragraph.
Recently, Alicia Ferrant discovered one of the most disturbing pornographic books in their child's high school in Orange County. So Alicia's going to the school library, which is more than I can say I did the entirety of high school. After some research, she learned that an alarming percentage of high school and middle school library books contain similar material. And she said, it is appalling the removal of pornographic and sexually explicit books has even been cause for debate. I am thankful for a governor, DeSantis, that has the courage to lead with integrity and to partner with the parents as we strive to raise the standard of excellence in our education system. Our students deserve to have high quality, academically rich books at their fingertips, and under no circumstance should they have access to pornographic material at school.
Well, you sound so reasonable.
When you read it in that accent. But there's something about those Southern accents that just make you go like, they've got a point. The question there, of course, is should they have access to neither graphic nor pornographic material, or just graphic pornographic material? In which case, if the pornographic material was not graphic, then it'd be fine. These are the questions that we have to ask.
Well, it also said sexually explicit, so.
Oh, sexually explicit pornographic material.
Yes. Scary.
Well, that changes everything. Do we care at all about the definition of, because we're going to be talking a little bit about a book ban policy that was put in place. I use book ban because it's the colloquial, the term book ban, because it's kind of the term that's being thrown around with this. It's banning books in schools. So yeah, let's say it's a book ban. Is it what you think of when you think of a government book ban? No, but it's its own thing. But the definition of pornography is going to become important, because this is the hard line that the women of liberty, the mothers of liberty, the mothers
the moms. They're just moms.
The moms of liberty. Hey man, moms, they all these moms got together and they birthed liberty, and it was graphic and pornographic, if we're being honest. It was weird to watch. I was there, and anyway, the line that the old Republicans are hitting on this issue is that schools are a place where young people go, and should pornographic material be at the schools? Does this not sound like a simple question? Because man, look, but my mom raised me. I'm a pretty anti-censorship person. I had a lot of complaints about censorship, specifically of curse words in media. I found it all quite absurd. And do you remember this? Do you remember me being like kind of enraged by the concept of censorship when I was younger?
I feel like, did you write a satirical thing about that, or was that not what it was about?
I've definitely written stuff about it, but I still find it absurd. But the question of should pornography be in the school library, it's like, maybe not, right? Maybe not the Hustlers and the Playboys and the other things that are read by people that aren't 80, who's buying Playboy? So that's kind of the line that they're hitting. However, what is pornography? We didn't expect it to go here. Florida, pornography in the same show. Let's bring it up, ladies and gentlemen. The old definition. It wouldn't be a video by some bleeding heart liberals if we didn't bring up a Google definition during it.
Gosh, it really is a Google definition.
Dude, it's all the time because it's when the Republicans use words, it's just real hard because they don't say what they mean. So what they mean is printed or visual material containing the explicit description or display of sexual organs or activity, important, comma, intended to stimulate erotic rather than aesthetic or emotional feelings. Now, I've looked at the material that has already been banned at a government level from schools in Florida. And a recent bill which was passed, it was not the anti-woke or the stop woke bill, although that also passed.
Yeah, but curriculum transparency, that one? The
curriculum transparency.
HB 1467.
Created a program in which books will be evaluated and then either approved or not approved. And then if these books are provided, by administrators to, I burp so much on stage, guys. It's a problem. When they are put on the old, God, man, I'm hitting a wall right now.
Oh, you must be tired. So you're talking about choosing the books here.
Yes, when some of them are rejected, it's by this person. Was that what I was saying? It doesn't matter. There's a couple books that are on this list already. It's been a slow process. There's 4 books. I have looked at some of the material. The book that gets brought up the most is a book that is called Gender Fluid, a Memoir. This is a graphic novel, which was originally, barely published. And then it won the Alex Award, which is an award by librarians and educational administrators that highlights books of like high merit to interested parties from 15 to 18 is what I remember. Don't quote me. And that award came out, and then it started getting put into a lot of school libraries, and it started making a lot of parents very mad because it's a graphic novel about a person that was born as a woman who slowly discovers the concept of non-gender binary and determines that they rest somewhere in the non-binary area of the spectrum. As you might imagine, that discovery involves genitals and sex and relationships and whatnot. And because it's a graphic novel, there are pictures of sex in it. There's oral sex. There's a picture of a pad with blood on it, which
banned.
And
I want banned now.
You want a band? You're like, oh, icky, dude. I won't even put that in a trash can if it doesn't have a lid.
Women's bodies are gross.
Oh, whoa. You're telling me blood comes from where? And it's got that. That's definitely not the main complaint, but it is on. There's a Iowa Standard article, which is where I found these images, with the headline "Shocking Images from Book Genderqueer." So it's not gender fluid, it's genderqueer. From book Genderqueer, which is stocked in school libraries across Iowa. And the first image that it brings up is this period blood one. And it's like, man, you cannot bury the lead like this because you look like an idiot. Anyway, if you guys want to look at the images, that's the article to look up. We cannot put them on here because the video will get taken down because it's depictions of sex. So
you can understand.
If YouTube's going to take it down, should it be in a high school? I don't know. Anyway, it's got depictions of sex, but here's what's important: it's an educational text, or it's certainly not meant to stimulate the reader. I mean, there's really a very select number of panels erotically. It's not meant to erotically stimulate the reader.
Okay, I mean, if this person is on a voyage of self-discovery, and through it they are engaging in sexual acts, and we're viewing it, it seems like there might be some level of stimulation intended.
No. Whoa. Well, okay. I think that you're missing intended, right? The writer is writing this for a purpose. That is their intention. Their intention here is to demonstrate their journey right here. Their intention is not to give any reader a boner. Okay. They are not trying to create pornographic material here. That is not their intention. Do you actually think that would be their intention?
I mean, I feel like somebody can have layers to their intention. Like I get what you're saying. This wasn't meant to be a smut magazine, right? It's not exclusively for that purpose. This is educational. This is a journey. This is a variety of things. But I mean, why would you put all of that in there? Why do we have the visual depictions? I haven't read it. I don't know. I know, but do we need graphic depictions of oral sex? I don't know.
Well, I plead with you to look at them because
I will reserve my judgment.
They are by no means erotic, and and they're really about an angst here. So I almost feel like the author would be offended if you were enjoying the photos, because they're pretty sad. However, am I waffling on a definitional argument? You bet I am. I'm a liberal, but this is the thing. Of course, they don't mean pornographic content. They mean sexually explicit content. And what's crazy is they already came up with that term. So just use the term that encapsulates what it is. But they're just trying to make it bigger. They're saying there's porn in schools. Oh my God, there's fucking Pornhub is in schools. But that's not what it is. And it annoys me. It annoys me you have to make it bigger, because the real debate here is, what is the line of sexually explicit we'll put in school libraries? And that's a real debate. Do they want a real debate? No. And this really fucking annoys me.
Nope, it's just an experiment, really. And,
because they call it pornography, right? And if you're already objecting to this material, you're not going to be like, well, it's technically not pornography, because you'd be a dick, right? So you agree with it, and you just go, all right, yeah, pornography. I agree with this point. But then you give this munition to the Washington Post and whatnot to say, like, they're calling this pornography. It's just like LGBT content. That's what they say, right? Do they put the images on their Washington Post website? No, because it's sexually explicit. And that's not in their style guide. What's the style guide for a school? Well, guess who's not trying to help with it? Fucking Ron DeSantis, because he passes legislation and that is so unnecessarily vague. Here's what we need, right? If this is where you want the line to be, then you say, graphic visual description depictions of sex contained in books other than health textbooks are not allowed in school libraries, and then maybe we debate the line on text, right? I mean, like, erotic novels should not be in the school library, maybe.
Depends. Okay. Yeah, it depends on what level of erotic they are, right? Yeah, sometimes it's just a cheesy romance.
Genre erotic now is the point for women to read it on the train and be like, oh, no one knows that the rocks of Gibraltar is really the best, And this is what they do, these women, okay? I know my audience is exclusively women, but still. Anyway, the debate can be had. But no. DeSantis, with his fucking fingers, he makes this policy, which is that it is a felony for a teacher to provide in their curriculum or in the school library a book which is not approved by a vetted Florida media consultant. Thank you, DAB. Thank you for media consultant. A media consultant which is trained by the state to determine if a book is pornographic, or it was two other things.
I think one is just deemed harmful, which feels like a really big umbrella, right?
What is deemed harmful, or was like not helpful to the fucking thing.
Seems like it's been a long day for you.
Yeah, I'm really like oscillating hard. The gist was like was unhelpful for educational purposes. Or did those seem like weirdly wide umbrellas? Yes. And then we're gonna give some person the power to determine what is approved and what is not approved. What's nice is they also have an approved list. So you can put those books out there. And those are books like Patriot, being a patriot with your fucking gun and licking your gun. And your gun is so great. I love your fucking gun, right? Like that book is approved. But maybe it takes a long time to get the Frederick Douglass memoir on there. Who knows? But they've definitely said no to genderqueer and flamer. The three that they took off were LGBT novels that had depictions of sex. Almost like the point is to keep sexually explicit content out of school libraries. They're not banning it on a state level, but still they make this unnecessarily vague information. Then they push it out there and say teachers that share unapproved materials, and the approved material list is unbelievably small. Teachers that share unapproved materials can be hit with a felony for sharing sexually explicit material with minors.
Right. So that's the fear. That's the fear, is that you are now contributing, to the delinquency. I don't even know how to say it. The delinquency of a minor by doing that kind of stuff.
Hi, Diamond Girl.
Hi, Diamond Girl. Okay, so there's another layer to this, is that like we talked a little about the Moms of Liberty and how they are trying to control the school boards, right? They are filling the school boards full of people that are conservative, and you've got all of these parents that are all worked up about everything since COVID that are now suddenly paying attention. And this particular curriculum currency book ban act also allows for parents. They have the ability to petition if they think that there is something that should be on the list. So that happens not on a big state level. That's like much more local. And so that's why you're seeing in the news, you've got schools with like just everything just not on the shelf, because one, they don't have a person who's been through that magical class, and has been vetted to decide which books are okay. And so they're like, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do anything, because again, they risk losing, possibly having a felony, but they also risk losing their teaching certificate, right? So we're just making all of this incredibly difficult on them. So there's all of that, but then you're noticing, you picked up on some of the ones that were banned, by the state, and they all had an LGBT undertone, right? And that's because we have HB 1557, which passed at pretty much the exact same time. This is the one that they refer to as the Don't Say Gay Act, even though it's called the Parental Rights in Education. Love these names: parental rights and curriculum transparency. Both of them are claiming to give control back to parents to control the curriculum, so that, your very woke teachers can't be teaching, aren't teaching things you don't want them to know about. We need them to hand over, their syllabuses in excruciating detail to the school board with an open audience of parents that can ask questions before a curriculum can even be approved. So it's got so many layers to it. But the Don't Say Gay portion is kind of saying that if you are under fourth grade, we can have no mention of a gender identity at all, right? You can't even have, two mommies went to the park with their daughter. Like, you can't even have just benign stuff in Florida because of this rule if they are in less than fourth grade. And after fourth grade, they want it to be age appropriate. You should want it to be age appropriate all of the time. Like, it feels sort of a little bit silly to me, but we know that it goes well beyond that. Like, if you can't even say gay, what can you say? Are the children going to get in trouble? Are they going to be, are you creating a hostile environment for people that might have same-sex parents, or for kids that are, transgender or gay or anything, right? You're just making an entirely uncomfortable environment for kids. And that should be the opposite of what you want. Oh, it's Moby. You really are like cycling right now, aren't you, Colin?
He's so cute.
He's very cute. And then we have another kind of hilarious sounding act that goes right along with it. Okay. And at least they didn't try to give it a fancy name that made it sound, like a parents' right type of act. Instead, they gave it a terrible name like Stop Woke Act.
Oh,
which is a terrible, terrible name. It's
stop woke.
HB7. So,
hey, woke.
well, let me tell you what this act does. I'm sure it's meant to go after, critical race theory, right? Because there's this big fear of critical race theory being taught to, elementary and high school students, when it generally is not. But anyway, the Stop Woke Act is to prohibit teaching guilt over your race or your gender. We don't want any, I apologize since you are, in fact, a white man, but we don't want any young white men feeling bad about themselves. No feeling bad about yourself. We won't guilt you about, how great you have it and how just sometimes completely out of touch you can be with what other people are going through. I don't want to be sad.
Is this going to help me? Yes. No.
Yes. Wonderful. DeSantis has also proposed, as part of this, banning diversity, equality, and inclusion programs and halting African American AP classes. So you can't even have an African American studies AP class right now in Florida because DeSantis has just created an entire vibe. He hasn't even had to actually necessarily make this a law. He's just putting it out there.
You've got to see what his office put out about this, by the way, because they put out this myth fact sheet about the liberal propaganda about what DeSantis is doing. Okay. And some poor graphic designer tried so hard on this. And two, what they said about African American studies, I thought was kind of funny if you really read between the lines. Because here's what's important, right? This is written by the DeSantis team. So it's going to look good for DeSantis. And they're not going to acknowledge the stuff. Like, they don't mention the AP thing. They're only going to mention the things that help them, which is their right. But man, the things they say about that is hilarious. Here's the myth fact sheet. All right. 1, myths versus facts. Look at all these rectangles. Oh man. All these myths and facts are coming to me so fast. Okay. I'm sorry that I'm like this. Myth. Florida has banned the instruction of African American history, including the discussion of slavery and the aftermath of slavery. All right. It's time for read between the lines time. Additionally, the following is required instruction on the history of African Americans in Florida statute. The history of African peoples before the political conflicts that led to the development of slavery. The passage to America. We got some African Americans. Reception. We got the African Americans now. The passage of to America.
They came over on a cruise ship, hoping to find a new world.
Tom Brady fucking packed all the African Americans together and threw them to America. The enslavement experience. No qualitative words there. It was an experience, dude. It was like IMAX 3D enslavement. Abolition and the history and contributions of Americans of the African diaspora to society. I mean, look, most of these topics, if you avoid the way that's being phrased, where you're like, this is a little bit what we're talking about, though. But most of these things sound fine. But do they acknowledge the old AP African American history? No. So, Wolf City. That's here's the problem, right? Is that when you say the myth, you can't write the myth that your opponents are saying, right? Because then you've written it in your words, right? What's the claim we're making? AP African American Studies, history? One of those?
I think it's history. It's history.
AP African American history can't be taught in Florida. And you're like, myth. I'm a fucking racist. Actually, I've got 2 black friends and I got pizza with them in May of 2019. So,
Well, I don't know that is banned. I can't remember if the Stop Woke Act actually has gone all the way through yet. So it might not have gotten all the way through, but it doesn't matter. The effects of it are still happening regardless, because DeSantis has kind of that influence where they just start doing stuff, right? Like the AP board changed the requirements of that class.
Yep.
Of this AP African American history class. They changed the requirements of it so there would be less reading. Yeah, so it's interesting. Another thing, this is kind of an interesting one. Where did it go? I lost it. I have so much shit on my screen.
You sound like Ashley Nicole says that I sound like the turtle from Finding Nemo. Well, that's actually what Ashley Nicole's daughter just informed me.
Oh, so cute.
Radical, dude.
What's his name? Crush.
Oh, get in the current, man. No, Crush is my father. Call me compact. God, I'm on today for experts.
Okay, so right now they're also working on banning some gender affirming care, right? So that youth can't get hormone replacement therapy and they can't get puberty blockers. But again, so this isn't the law yet, right? It feels like it is, but it isn't, because again, DeSantis just makes his intentions known, and because he won by such a hearty, like by a lot, right? It feels like he's got a lot of support. The Board of Medicine, just pressured by DeSantis, just basically said, we will not be doing any hormone therapy or puberty blockers for anybody that isn't already grandfathered in and already on it.
Florida Board of Medicine?
Yes, the Florida Board of Medicine. So it's just an interesting kind of way to exert influence without actually having to go through the legislature. So, and it's the same thing with even the way that book ban is written, right? Some of these books, there's tons of books that aren't banned, but they are, sort of quasi banned because people can petition to their school board and make it happen, and just scare the school board by wasting tons and tons of time by making teachers scared that they're going to lose their jobs, or that they're going to have a felony.
Well, and a bunch of books are quasi banned right now because the way that it's written is that if it's not approved, it's disapproved, right? So it's not like once it gets on the rejected list, then the felony is in question. It's like if you have a book out there and that book is rejected, you could theoretically be charged with a felony. Now, is any criminal, what are those, prosecutor going to take that case? Probably not. But the fear is there. And so why would a teacher risk anything on any book that is not on the approved list already? And the approved list is itty bitty. It's 800 books. There's at least another 800 books out there. So this is a problem.
Yeah. But when you talk about suing, sometimes the lawsuit is the objective, right? Sometimes we'll pass a ridiculous over the top law. I say we, I mean, people of the legislature of the United States passes some of these really shitty laws, knowing that they don't pass, the Constitution. They're terrible. And they'll pass them anyway with the hopes that they're going to get sent to court so that they can then make it to the Supreme Court, because let's use the Supreme Court as the, the strong arm lately to undo things that have been done in the past.
Yep.
And that's what they're doing. So they will pass, like right now, they're proposing a 6-week ban in Florida on abortions, except for rape and incest. So that's not the strictest, but almost the strictest. I think they're at 15 right now, but they want to go to 6. And then we have this cuckoo blogger guy. I say blogger guy. He's a state senator, Jason Brodeur, and he is trying to create a blogger registration for bloggers who like to post about state officials. So any state official, which one would think, what amendment is it? Is it the first one where you have the freedom of old speech so that you can, file your grievances with the government with your loud voice, right? It seems like a pretty big deal. Yep. He's saying that, if you would like to file grievances in the form of voicing your opinion against any sort of state officials, then we're going to need you to register. And what we want you to do is tell, but only if you're compensated. So if you're just giving away your wisdom for free, that's fine. But if you're making money doing it, which, what does that mean? There's people that are monetized on YouTube and are just spouting nonsense. Do they need to say who's paying them? They want to know who's compensating you. And if you do not, within 28 days and every 28 days, if you regularly, say stuff against the government, give them an accounting of what money you've made and who paid you, then you're going to get fined. So it's a little bit nuts.
That is definitely the craziest one I feel like we've said.
Well, I will say DeSantis thinks that this one's crazy, and so did Newt Gingrich. They were like, nice. Yank that. But what this guy is saying, this Jason Brodier is saying, is that basically it's like lobbyists. He says bloggers are lobbyists, and you can get articles that are written, like a lobbyist will pay a newspaper or a blogger to run this article, to write this article, and people need to know that a lobbyist is behind it. And, there's a part of me that's like, all right, I kind of get what you're saying. I could see how we might want some sort of transparency, but at what cost? And this doesn't apply to regular newspapers. If you are part of a regular, news organization and newspaper, you don't have to do this because there's probably some other way that you're already having some accounting happening. But if you're a blogger out there, you need to tell us who's paying you to write these terrible articles about me. Tell me who's doing it? Who's paying you?
Terrible.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating.
It's interesting the lines that they're willing to cross. But it does feel like both parties are having this weird problem where these state senators are writing absurd bills in order to get some sort of press coverage for themselves as either anti-woke or anti-alt-right. So that they write these bills that are totally out of the ordinary in order to get coverage. And then their party is like, fucking stop. Like, whoa, you're making us so crazy. We're only a little crazy. So I just feel like that's been sort of a trend.
I know pride groups are concerned with events with all this hate and misinformation. I mean, I always feel like, for me, pride always seemed like it has to be scary, but it seems like it's not. It seems like there's actually a big community and it can be very loving and lovely, but I can see how it would be scary, especially right now when we're trying to move in the wrong direction. Florida, interestingly, is not one of the states right now that's working on, I don't want to call it a ban necessarily, but not letting drag queens read books to children. Florida's not, they haven't done that one yet. So let's watch out for that one.
Haven't there been bans of just out and out drag shows? Like drag shows that
in Florida?
Or not in Florida, but was it Tennessee?
Well, Tennessee is the one right now that has successfully gotten the drag. You can have drag shows, but they're just for adults. You can't have anything that is family friendly or, no reading at the library, no public.
But is it like R-rated movie rules where, if your parent says it's okay, you can go?
Not in Tennessee.
That is so stupid.
They canceled 2023 Pride for Knoxville already. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But we're actually, one of our clients does security equipment at my company, and the people that we're seeing the most interest from are nonprofit organizations. We're seeing interest either from like hard religious organizations, like Orthodox Jewish or like Muslim, like mosques, or we're seeing pride groups are interested in these security grants. So
that's interesting.
That's sort of telling on the climate of these sort of things.
I think, what I'm worried about, and this is sort of like a long range concern, because there's so much to worry about right now. Like, it's really hard to be fully invested and aligned with every terrible thing that's happening right now, because it's just overwhelming and there's not enough I have not enough hands nor hours in the day. But I worry with this stuff, since so much of it is around children in the schools and stuff like that, is what do they want that generation to look like, that they are so closely wanting to control, who they interact with, how, if they can read a book, if they can cover their face, if they can feel guilt.
Yep.
I mean, what do they want that generation to look like in Florida? Have they even thought that far? Or is it just strictly pandering to the adults that don't like to be told what to do, unless they're telling you what to do? Because that's what it is, right? These rules are for me, or these rules are for you, not for me. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like to cover my mouth with a mask. I don't like to be kicked out of this room because I won't follow the rules. And so now I'm going to chuck extra rules on you because that's the way it should be, right? It's just one of those messed up.
It feels very high schooly.
Very high schooly.
Also,
but are they going to even get a high school education here?
It's like we've got to come together on like who do we want teaching the kids? Because it's like when parents hear this like, oh, parent empowerment stuff, they think of themselves, and everyone thinks that they're smart. That that everyone thinks I'm smart, even though most of you are below average. Half of you at least.
At least half.
In Florida, most of you. And everyone thinks I'm smart. So when you think of parent empowerment and you're a parent, you're like, oh, I'm empowered, right? But then I just wish someone would be like, okay, all right. But think about the other parents. Because if there's one thing that I've heard from parents is that when you get to meet other parents, you're like, holy shit, they just let anyone have kids. So I would kind of like the school administrators to have some impact on these other kids, okay? My kids are great because they got me as a parent, and I'm amazing. But these other parents are fucking idiots.
Well, that's kind of how some parents felt with regards to the book ban. They were like, if you're saying that you're giving more choice to the parents to control what their children consume, then why don't you just send a note home saying, we're going to be covering this type of material with these kind of books, and I can sign a permission slip or not sign a permission slip if I don't want my children seeing that kind of stuff. Just like when you went to school and, some people for some reason don't want creation to be taught, or they want creation to be taught instead of just evolution taught in science class, and they sent stupid notes home. I remember getting a stupid note home from when you went to school in Utah. So, it's like, just send the note home. That's the way that parent felt. It's like, if I'm supposed to be able to choose, then give my child the option to look at it if I'm okay with him doing it. And it's not, you're deciding for other people.
Yeah. That fucking celibacy note that Owen got sent home with. Woof City. That is something Wendy H says, I'm seriously considering moving to another country. Geographically, Canada and Mexico are my top two choices. I would stick with just geographically on that one, because if you're looking for not corrupt governments, I wouldn't be going to Mexico. If you've read some New York Times articles lately, not doing so good over there.
There's stuff going on over there. Somebody went and got some plastic surgery and did not make it back because they got kidnapped.
See, that stuff, it's just like that happens every 2 years. Okay. I'm done with these. I'm done with those stories. Okay. Yeah. You go to one of the places that the US says is red, and then you get kidnapped. Yeah. Yes, this is going to happen. But dude, the government is on the take. The government, definitely the complaint among Mexicans in that case that you were just talking about is like, they threw the entire militaristic police force at finding these 4 Americans, but there are more than 100,000 Mexicans who are missing, kidnapped, in Mexico. Is the police doing jack shit about that? Are they are they going at it with both barrels for Mexicans? No. I could not stand living in Mexico and being a Mexican right now. The government is on the take. The police force is corrupt. I can barely stand being in America, but I would definitely rather be in New York than Mexico. Mississippi, well, what state in Mexico then? Which one? Because there are definitely places in Mexico I'd rather be. Oh boy, man.
But you seem to be enjoying Montreal.
Oh, dude, I freaking love Canada. Now, they're big assholes about jaywalking. And so everyone waits at the stop hand when there's no cars around. It's like, this is the worst way to be a pedestrian. This is terrible. But other than that, big fan of Canada. The food has been really great. I like the cold. I was thinking about, because with the snowboarding, and I was like, I'm starting to do this mental medical arithmetic, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm in Canada. I could get healthcare. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to snowboard so hard, right? I'm going to try and hit a tree. Like, let's take advantage of it.
Don't try to hit the tree.
Yeah.
So are you renting snowboarding stuff? Because I feel like your snowboarding stuff is weirdly here in Mississippi.
It is, yes. I'm renting snowboarding stuff.
Okay.
If I had known, I would have brought snow pants, but I didn't know. And like I said, I'm water, baby. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to go buy snow pants.
There you go. Buy some snow pants. It'd be lovely.
I have not snowboarded in so long. I'm so excited. Yeah, man. It's going to be gravy.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I feel like we said what we wanted to say about Florida. Or did you have more?
No, man.
We crushed it.
I'm water.
I don't know how we covered so many little tiny pieces in like an hour, but we did.
Let's be honest, and the viewers can give me positive feedback on this. This is one of the best episodes of all time. Okay. Did it have a rocky patch at the middle where I was losing my mind? Yes. Was I also losing my mind in the middle, but I was keeping it tamped down? Yes. Some water, baby. But man, sorry. I just read Wendy H's comment, and Girls of Colors, just something about it made me laugh. In the context of the greater comment, hard to laugh at. But
yes, indeed. It is true. Dude. It's getting slightly better, but only because, depending on what community, I mean, particularly if you're part of the Black community, they seem to be masters of social media. And, that's how you get stuff noticed if you don't, look like a beautiful white woman by police. But yeah, man, the police are terrible. They're not the best. We don't have the best police. I mean, heck, we might have the best police, but with that said, they aren't great.
I like Canada. Yep, I think it was a good episode.
Yeah, me too. Well, thanks everybody for keeping us company.
Yep. And now
nice.
I had a great time. I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten since lunch, and it's 8:12 here. And also, I walked so many miles, so I should eat. But first, I need to get you to hit those numbers, because you're not going to believe it. But on this very podcast, nobody asked. We got the literal state of Florida to do a song for us, to play us out. And
all right.
I couldn't believe it when it happened. I was like, a state making music. And they said, yeah. So hit those numbers. Florida, there's a space in there randomly, but other than that, it's Florida.
Gotcha. Thank you, everybody. Here comes some Florida.
Jeans at the world, looking like her. See at the road, see at the road, low.